Hey guys! So I'm just going to show you guys how to turn this Trivial Pursuit pie pieces into something like this, or even this. Just a simple necklace. Either simple or elaborate. So stay tuned. I mean, obviously this is going to be kind of a long video because I'm doing two different types of necklaces here. I could have done three if I really wanted to, because I have another idea that I'll reveal in the end, so we can talk about that as well. But as always, if you guys just want to skip the rants and all that sort of stuff, or you just want to go to a specific section in the video just to like see how to make certain things, I try to put timestamps down below, so hopefully, you know, that'll help you guys if you decide to make something along these lines. Basically, I like the simplicity of this one, and I think it's really, really cute. So we're gonna kind of go into how to make that first, and then we're gonna definitely talk about how to make something a lot more elaborate. I don't know if you guys can see this, but it's basically like a little pie, or different types of pies sort of like put into one pie, which I thought was really fun and cute. So I definitely think that you can wear these for, I mean, anytime really, especially if you're a bold, colorful person like myself, or, you know, if you're going to game night, if eventually we get out of COVID and people start going back to game restaurants or something like that, like board game restaurants. So anyways, if you really, really like board games, this is actually an idea. Like I thought, one day I wanted to kind of like make a board game cafe. This was like years and years and years ago. A friend of mine was like, yeah, we should do that, you know. I have another friend who has like made one. Like he lives like really far away, out of the way for me, unfortunately. But yeah, he has a cool board game cafe. I thought this would be kind of like a fun idea if I had a board game cafe, to like sort of have different types of pie and sort of put them into one giant pie and just have people pick and choose like whichever piece they wanted, and then I just sort of replace it with another slice of that same flavor of pie. So it looks like a Trivial Pursuit game piece, right? So anyways, this was kind of like an idea I had from like years ago, and I was like, oh my god, why don't I just like do that on an actual pie piece? So that was kind of where this idea sort of came from. enough chatter, I guess. We should probably go on to the DIY. So I'm going to make this into almost like a pie necklace. And this is not glued down quite yet, but I'm just going to put this aside for now. But what I'm going to use are kind of like nail gems. And it comes with a tweezer, the ones that I got anyways. So I'm going to use these guys. I'm probably going to use some of these as well. So these are like pie pieces for the game Trivial Pursuit, and I really like these. I think these are really cute. I got a bunch of bags, so I can make quite a few necklaces if I wanted to. And it's really cool on its own, I think, or if you bling it up with the gems, or you make some sort of pie, maybe a realistic looking pie. Also, you're probably going to need, see them? They're like little fruit slices. I see this all over the internet, and yeah, I think that they're really cute. I think I got these from Amazon, these ones here. You can get all different kinds. And these guys are bale caps. So I'm definitely going to be using these. I'm going to show you these ones up close. So this part here is called a bale, and that's to like hang your necklace or a pendant of some kind to make jewelry. And I got a cap version. Let's focus a bit better. Yeah, cap version, so that it's a little easier to glue on to something. So if I wanted to say glue this onto here, like that, I can just do that, and then it's a little easier for this to hang as a necklace. But that, I also have some E6000, as well as some Mod Podge Dimensional Magic, and that turns out to be clear, so it kind of looks like these little pendants. They end up sort of looking very resin-like, but it's a water base, so it's a little bit safer than resin to use. Okay, so I had to put my mask on for this step, and actually I'm gonna break out this E6000 glue, but I'm going to basically use these little cat bales. I got a ton of them on Amazon. Whoa, that glue is coming out. Whoa, it's seeping quite a bit. Ah. Oh, and I'm not even putting pressure on it, guys. It's a lot. Okay. It's okay. Whatever glue I have is going to be covered up. Actually, I want to turn it this way. Yeah, there's a lot of glue that came out of there. Okay, so I'm going to attempt something. I'm hoping that this is going to be beneficial. But I'm going to take one of these tiny, tiny, tiny little screw-in bales. I'm going to put that away. And I'm going to sort of switch out this. I want to get like a smaller screwdriver's head in order to have more of a tight squeeze. I think this one's good because it's not going to be too small and I can get some glue in there. So just basically tighten it. Can you guys see what I'm doing here? Let me see. I think it's going out. Okay. So I have to clamp it on in the middle. Hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing here. I can't see what the camera sees right now. So yeah, so I'm just going to clamp this by turning the middle part. And yep, it seems to be pretty fastened on there. Okay, so this one I feel, this head is a little bit bigger than this screw part. So I kind of want to do some glue string still on here. You can wipe this down too if you want, guys, but I have more glue, so I'll probably wipe it down afterwards. But I want this to be about here. And I'm just gonna try to sort of wiggle this and make a bit of a hole right there. Whoops. Now it's tough to do when it's a round object that you're sort of working with. Oops, I didn't want to do it there. I want to do it here. So I'm just basically resting my hand on the top here and sort of holding it in place with my other hand. I'll just sort of do it on the side here so you can sort of see what I'm doing, hopefully. And you can sort of see the plastic coming up. Okay. Just sort of move that aside. Take all that plastic off of there. But yeah, it looks like a hole is being made here. Okay, so you're just sort of twisting it like that. I don't think I need to make such a deep hole, but let's see if this fits in there. Oh, maybe I do have to make it a deeper hole. Okay. Well, that's good to know. So get through the other piece that's already glued in there. And that should be a hollow piece, so hopefully it doesn't take too long to get through. right? Let's see if that does anything. It's almost like a soother. Right, okay. Cool, so that is gonna fit right on top. And make sure it's the right way that you want it. Anyways, and then I have this glue here. This guy seems to work pretty well. Let me get all this out of here. This glue is the F6000, so it's very much similar to the E6000, I think, but it seems to be more gel-like in consistency, and it seems to be kind of like a finer point of glue. So I like to put it right over top of the hole, and then so not just glue whatever's in the hole, but you might want to glue the actual piece itself too, just to make sure that everything is adhered on. I like the fact that this particular bale has a top part to it, so I'm gonna make sure that that's also got glue on it, so I can make sure that it's pretty sturdily on there. Is sturdily a word, guys? I don't even know. It's on there very securely. There we go, that's a better word, I think. Yeah, so just sort of stick that in there, and then sort of wait for it to set, and then you have just like a very simple piece. Again, you don't have to do this kind of bale if you don't want to. You can always get like almost like a flat bale. There's all sorts of beautiful different designs and stuff like that you can do with flat bales, and you can sort of glue it on the back there. I just wanted to be extra secure by putting it in a hole, and then if I wanted to, I don't have to do this, but if I want to, I can always put something on the back. And so when it flips around, then it's like another art piece or something. I'm probably not going to do that, but that's a suggestion in case you guys want to do something fun like that. I like having jewelry pieces that are like two things in one. It could be related to the actual piece of jewelry, or it could be something completely different. It doesn't really matter. It's really up to your imagination, guys. Okay, so I'm just gonna leave that to dry. I'm gonna put this lid back on the glue, and next step is basically cleaning this up and putting it on a necklace. So the next thing coming up is basically showing you how to make a more realistic pie, if that's what you want to do. Okay, so I figured it's about time that I started gluing some of these gems on here. I have this, I think it's like, let's take the sticker off. Yeah, it's like F6000, which I don't know, I think I've used it for jewelry making before, and it seems to work out pretty well. So anyway, I'm just trying to flip all of these guys right side up. So I'm just going to take, so this smells a lot, guys, just so you know, and I think it's a good idea to wear a mask when you're doing this sort of thing. So I'm just gonna pop a little tiny bit. This is very liquidy. I think this is actually a really good glue for jewelry making. If you get on your hands though, it can be quite sticky. Oh no, it's like a spiderweb situation happening right now. Oh, what not to do with this glue. So I want this to be like a kiwi, it's like a key lime pie piece. Bit of glue happening here, which isn't good. Just scraping that away a bit. And then there's a line piece right here as well. So I'm just gonna glue that down. Let's try to use these tweezers. That's a little bit better. Okay. So I'm just gonna sort of lay that guy on top. Just sort of put him down like that. There we go, that's gonna look nice. I'm gonna put that one aside. So this guy's more like, almost like a raspberry pie of some kind. So I'm gonna make that, whoops, next. Sometimes these tweezers are not easy to be using, okay. Now this stuff looks like it's getting very gel-like in consistency, this glue. I've had it for a little bit now. Okay, so let's try to put this maybe right here. Okay, there we go. Yeah, let's do this lemon. So this looked like an orange cake, but I don't want to do that with this cake. I might actually just do more like a pumpkin pie situation there. So I don't know, we'll see. Maybe I will put that in there because I kind of like this little orange. It's really cute. But I'm gonna do this lemon one now. There we go. There's a little dollop. Okay. I'll just put this little small one on top. There we go. I'll let these guys dry right now. Okay, so now I'm gonna put that aside. I may do something with that later, depending. I want to focus on these guys right now. Okay, so I think I did it starting with this. I'm just going to stick that. Push it down with this guy. It's like, I mean, I could do all the same color if I wanted to, but I just kind of wanted some dimension. But you don't have to do what I'm doing here. You don't even have to do the gem thing. I think I'm just crazy. I want to do something fun and sparkly. Maybe if I start gluing along here, little dots of glue, maybe that'll be the easier thing to do. So I'm going to do a layer of Mod Podge to make it look kind of like wet cherry pie, jam-like sort of surface, a compote. There we go. Now it's bedazzled. It's kind of heavy though. There we go. It's nice gems there. Anyways, I'm going to try to glue things down in here first. Whoa. In the middle, I want some darker ones. Oops, these ones are pretty. These are purple tones. So this is gonna be like the blueberry pie. Again, it's probably, it doesn't look very much like blueberries, but I think they're really pretty anyways. There we go. So just let those dry. Now, I'm gonna put this lid back on. Again, it's extremely smelly stuff. And then, what I wanted to do, air dry clay. I'm hoping that I can use a tiny little piece in here. Oh yeah, I sort of sealed the opening. Well, that was smart of me. So I just want a tiny little piece here. Very small piece. So I'm just gonna, it's very soft. So this is Model Magic. Just seal it up again so that it stays wet. And you can always seal up more air dried clay with like wet paper towel involved. But this is my Model Magic. So anyways, so I want to make this guy into a little, I might need smaller amount, I don't know, a little pumpkin. So yeah, so then they'll basically look like a little dollop of whipped cream, like right on top. Yeah, so that'll look like a little pie, and then I'll do the crust later. Anyways, I'm just gonna set those guys to dry. Inside. And yeah, if you want to, you can always like add an orange or something. If you got the same fruit stuff that I did, you don't have to make like these little dollops or whatever. You don't have to make this into pumpkin pie, but I just thought that it would look really cute. So anyways, that's the first stage. I'm gonna let these guys dry and then we'll do the next step, okay? Hey guys, so I just wanted to let you know that something happened to the sound here, so I'm just going to do a little bit of a tiny voiceover. So I rolled the white
air dry clay out. It's almost like a snake, and then sort of folded it in on itself, and then sort of made a little bit of a peak here, and just sort of pinched the top of it, just to make it look a little bit more like a dollop of whipped cream. So, and then I sort of flatten it out a little bit on the surface of the table and put that aside and I just tried to make a few of them just so I had a few to pick from. Whichever one was the best one is what I kind of used on my project. So, and yeah, so that's pretty much it. Back to my regular voice.
I'm gonna do some gluing. Alright, so there we go. Now all our little pies are in place. Just have to put some glue on them to glue them all down. I'm going to use the E6000, so that was the F6000 that I used. And I like this color placement here. Oops, okay, I guess this guy's next. You should probably put gloves on when you're doing this, but it's kind of tricky sometimes, especially if you're trying to film stuff. But yeah, safety first, guys. These glues are really strong and toxic. Well, it's very sticky right now. Okay, so let that set then. Okay, so then we'll do the next step and try to get this glue strings off of this, because that's definitely not attractive. I'm going to take this Mod Podge Dimensional Magic. I don't know if you guys can see that. The Mod Podge Dimensional Magic in clear. And it's not going to look clear immediately. I don't think you're supposed to actually shake this stuff up before you use it, because that creates a lot of bubbles. It's very much like resin, but I think it's a little safer than resin as far as I know, because it's water-based. So what apparently you should do, so take off the top. Get the bubbles out. Just let it drip out a bit. And so it domes up pretty well, apparently. I just want to sort of cover this. Again, it's going to be clear, and this is just going to look more like jelly for pie. The other ones already sort of look like they're pies in a way, except for maybe I could have added a little more to the pumpkin pie, but I feel like this guy needs like an extra sheen. So it's good to do this fairly slowly as far as I know. Oh, it's dripping over. I didn't mean to do that. Okay, cool. Let's get a paper towel. That was not what I was hoping for. Yeah, I was not expecting that to go on that side. That's okay. It gives it a little bit of a shine. So now we'll just let that dry, and then we can do stuff around the pie here. So basically, because this leaked, it sort of made a raspberry pie part look quite shiny. I had to do a second layer of this like Mod Podge Dimensional Magic, and just so that it can sort of dome up a little bit. And I don't know if you guys can see very well, but you can sort of see that this sort of looks a little bit more like cherry and blueberry, like a compote of some kind. So I'm gonna try to put like almost like a crust around the pie, like all the way around. For just these guys, I'm going to sort of do like the crisscross effect that you see on certain pies, right? Mostly like cherries and blueberries and that sort of thing. Okay, I'm just gonna cut off. Okay, so let's try this. Oh, let's see if this will be cuter. This looks a little more like it's going to be more accurate here. I can glue that down a little bit better.
Okay, let's try to do this around the edge as the crust. Okay, so I trimmed up some of the edges here to make this look a little bit more like crust, and just sort of rounded things out slightly. Not fully rounded, it's almost like a geometric round. It's really hard to do things in small detail sometimes, guys. If you're really good at doing small detail stuff, you are awesome. So yeah, anyways, it looks really good. I like it, or at least most of it I like. There's some things like this where there's bits going down the crevices of the pie. Yeah, so I cleaned up the edges of this a little bit just so that it sort of made things look more like actual slices. So I tried to make this look a little bit more like, let's see here, there's that bit in there too. Yeah, get out of there. There we go, that's better. Now it looks kind of more like a pie, I guess. Like it's a little too sticky. So this guy broke off a little bit, which is unfortunate. I haven't sealed anything in yet. So what we're gonna do now is I'm going to use this. Can you guys see this? Yeah, I'm gonna use this. It's like a silver, it's called Boondoggle. And just cut basically like pieces that are hopefully like the same height. Whoops, all the way around. To make almost like a foil sort of look. And just sort of glue this on, and then I'm going to like paint this, you know, so it's basically just the original yellow is just going to show in the crevices there. So if you want to, you could probably use this as almost like a stencil guide thing. Hopefully that would work. Let me see. I'm hoping. Anyways, cut out a bunch of these and then glue them all the way around. That's basically it. Okay, so I'm going to try to use this golden acrylic, the iridescent silver fine, for the bottom of this. I think it's going to match it pretty well. I'm not gessoing this, which I probably should, but hopefully it's a good matchup. If not, I can always go over this pan again. Just gonna put a generous amount on. I want to do it a little more thin than this. It's not good to layer too thickly, because then you're gonna get a lot of texture when you don't want it. But yeah, I should have gessoed this with maybe like a gray tone, or at least put a gray acrylic over top. So, because I find metallics tend to be quite transparent, so you might have to just sort of like do a few coats of this, because I didn't do that step, which I'm hoping that you guys will. I'm just doing things rather swiftly, but you guys can take as much time as you need if you decide to go the elaborate route and making this sort of thing. But yeah, just sort of like do thin coats. It's going to be too lumpy and textured if you do it too thick. So try to do as thin as possible with like a wide brush. I'm just gonna let that set. I did that pretty quickly. I'm gonna let this set, and then I'm going to probably go over this again. But because it doesn't fully match up with the sides, I mean, I might just leave it because I don't think it's like that big of a deal. But some people, if it really bothers them, they can always just go over it with the same sort of silver paint and match everything up perfectly, you know, for the pan. But I'll decide on what to do when I'm layering it to see if it really bothers me that much, if it makes that much of a difference. But yeah, so that's that step. I'm going to layer it again, maybe 2 or 3 times, just to see if I can get more of a solid color, and then I may do around the edge here if I really feel like it's necessary. So I'm basically just trying to make this the underside of this metallic pan, and I'm hoping that will work out pretty well. So I ended up finishing the back of this off camera, and basically I did 3 swipes of the silver acrylic paint from Golden, and so that kind of covered up the yellow, and I did that without a gesso, which is nice. It was quite transparent though, so a lot of thin layers, and you can see a little bit of texture, but that's okay. Foil tends to have a bit of a texture anyways. This was not matching entirely precisely, which is fine, but basically I just went over it like I think once or twice with the same acrylic paint as I did with the underside here. I'm pretty sure it was just once or so, but because it was like a metallic silver already, it didn't really like need a lot of layers. So I let that dry, kind of upside down, and then I did, I think it was 3 layers of really glossy varnish. Or I guess it's not really glossy, it was just gloss varnish, and it was an interior exterior varnish, and it's by Delta Ceramcoat, I think it's called. So I used that on the underside, basically because it's metallic, and I wanted the metallic to stay shiny. And so most of this, you can do a matte gloss if you wanted to. I didn't have a matte gloss, but I did a satin instead, so it has a bit of a sort of eggshell finish, I guess you could say, so it's not extremely shiny. But then I did these almost like spot areas here, like the parts that are almost like a jam. I sort of sealed things and made it glossier with the Mod Podge Dimensional Magic. So again, so the satin finish was the same company, the Delta Ceramcoat. I just made sure I got a satin finish of it. It's also exterior interior, so you can wear it outside. You know, it did 3 coats of that, I think. Oh, and I also, so I did 1 coat, and then a bit of the actual paint came off because I didn't let it dry long enough. So I ended up, because I wanted this really white to look a lot like a dollop of whipped cream, I just went over it with some titanium white paint when this was dry, and just fixed that up to make it look less painted on, I guess, and burnt or whatever. And yeah, so that turned out pretty good, I think. And then I just let that dry, and then I did 2 more coats of the Ceramcoat, a satin finish, right? And then once that was done, I basically put gloss, the Mod Podge Dimensional Magic on there 1 more time, just to give it a lot more gloss. And I think it turned out really good. I mean, it's really hard to see the gems underneath. You can sort of see the blueberry ones a little bit, but I think that looks more realistic like that because I did so many layers of the Dimensional Magic. And yeah, I think it looks really cute. I mean, you could do this with beads if you wanted to, if you didn't want to get little nail gems like I did, but yeah, you could definitely get a similar effect with beads or something like that. Yeah, I think it looks really cute. It turned out a lot better than I thought. I was kind of worried at the beginning because I was like, oh, it looks too bright and kind of fake or something. But yeah, I think it looks awesome. So there's this guy, and I did this guy, right? Like, did kind of like a slightly different bail with the drilling earlier, and very, very sort of easy. This was easy mode, I feel, and this one's kind of like, I don't want to say hard mode, but it's more kind of a tedious mode, if
if anything. This probably took me, because I let things dry for quite a while, because I don't like things being tacky. I flip things over and all that sort of stuff, you know, and have things coming off or whatever. So I let them dry for maybe like a day or two. So it took quite a while to do this one. This one was super easy to do. This probably took at least a day if you think about it. But again, like I let things dry and whatnot. So this one took about a day or so. This one took about, if I tried to calculate, probably, I don't know, with all the drying and stuff like that, I think about a week or so, something like that, maybe less. Yeah, I was doing other projects in between, so it's really, really hard to time this guy. If you like tedious, fun projects that have a lot of detail, this one was pretty fun to do. Honestly, like this one took a while, but it was really, really fun to do, and I really enjoyed it, and I like the outcome. I think it looked really, really cute. Also, you can turn this into a magnet, by the way, if you wanted to, guys. You can stick this on the fridge or something. It's pretty light, but I wanted to wear it, so, you know. But you can do all sorts of things with this. And yeah, I was gonna say you can do something similar with, I've seen people do bottle caps. They've taken bottle caps and that's sort of been the metallic pie plate part, and then they filled it with beads or whatever the heck, right? But I think they did it with just one type of, like, make it look like one type of pie. I kind of wanted to make it look like different like pies stuck together, kind of like this, right? Really, really cute. It's obviously a very bulky necklace, but you can do so much with it. I think it's really, really, like, if you don't mind bold jewelry, I think it's probably gonna be up your alley. So I'm going to put a delicate necklace on it to balance it out, but you can do, like, there's so many different types of necklaces out there. Basically all you do is, like, so you can take cord, you can take ribbon, you can take chains. It doesn't have to be this. I just have a ton of these basically, so I'm just going to use it. And you can you can weave this through if you want to. Actually, this one's not going to work. So you could probably do it with this one easily, because this is a bigger bail, right? So you kind of gotta do that. This one's done. This one's super easy to do. This one's done. So right now I have to basically find. Okay, I'm gonna take my two. They're fairly flat. They're not like something that's going to cut something, right? These particular tools. And so I'm gonna take my fairly small, but not too small jump ring here. Right, and then I'm going to, hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing here. I'm just gonna open it up and then weave this through. And then just close it as best as I can. Well, that was the smoothest thing I've ever done. Okay. So I'm just going to put these guys aside. Didn't have to adjust it too much, which is nice. That sometimes doesn't always happen. Okay, so that's that one. I'm going to do another fairly delicate chain, the similar one that I had going on with this other one. There's so many different types of ways of doing this. It could be longer too. It doesn't have to be this short. The longer dangly ones might be nice with the larger pieces, statement pieces of jewelry. Anyways, but I just wanted to show you guys sort of like how to attach things. So that's just, I want to show the project all the way through. But yeah, basically it's just that simple. You just sort of weave that through after putting, like, attaching another little jump ring here. And again, you didn't have to do it with this one necessarily, but so that looks really good too. So I'm gonna put these guys aside for now, just for a second. I made these. I made them on, I think it was Illustrator mostly. Yeah, I made like the circles and all this sort of stuff. Just sort of copied this similar template that they had on the trivia cards for Trivial Pursuit. And then I got a similar font, not the exact same font, but a similar font. And I just sort of wrote different, I guess mostly pie related questions under the category. So this is geography, entertainment, history, arts and literature, science and nature, and this was sports and leisure, right? So basically tried to coincide with whatever the category was, and then I mean, if you can line things up really well and print it on the other side, then do that. But I wasn't unsure if it was going to line up properly, so I ended up just doing another separate piece of paper, and I'm just going to cut out these guys and then glue these guys to each other. And if you want to, I don't have a lamination machine or anything like that, but if you have a lamination machine, you can laminate it or something. Take those two plastic clear sheets and you can sort of laminate by hand sometimes. Laminate them together if you want to. I'm not going to go that far, I don't think. I think I'm just going to like keep it matte paper. Or again, you can always take, if you have a Trivial Pursuit game and you know you've lost some pieces or something like that and you don't really care too much, you can always take an actual card from the game and do what I'm doing. So you can skip this step if you want to, but I personally don't like doing that to games. That's not me, so I ended up just making my own thing here. And you can cut this out, or if you want to get a straighter edge, I always suggest to cut things out by X-Acto knife. I'm gonna try to maybe line it up as best as I can here. Sucks because I don't have a clear ruler to do this. But metal works really well if you're trying to slice something up. So this is the answer side, as you can see. And it's just fun. I just themed it to pie, right? If I decided to sell my pie stuff, or if I decided to gift it to somebody, it's a really, really cool thing to gift. So, okay, so I'm gonna put this aside, and I mean, you can cut out all of them if you want to. If you're doing a bunch, like for a store, or giving a bunch of gifts or something like that, you can make a ton of these. But yeah, I just basically made the same card over and over and over again, and I think that always works out really well. So again, if you screw up somehow, like while cutting it or whatever the heck, then I've got backup, so that's kind of nice. Where is my original card here? Put it aside. Ah, here it is. Okay. So yeah, and then you just sort of glue these guys, because they're basically the same size. You just glue them together. I'm gonna just use like a glue stick. You can use a little more heavy duty if you want. Okay, so I just have this glue stick, the LePage glue stick, and you can do both sides, you can do one side, whatever. I think it sticks better when you do both sides, to be honest with you. And yeah, you guys might think I'm going a little overboard with this, but again, I just like to give a strong presentation when I'm doing presents, or again, like it can show, like if you have a strong presentation, you can stand out at a craft show or something, right? Especially if your stuff is quite colorful. So I'm just sort of being fairly liberal with the glue, right? And so what I like to do is, to make it look like a real card, is I always have to kind of do the reverse side. Try to make sure that this is almost like upside down when you flip it over. So this is going together like this. If you can, try to line it up. Sometimes it's hard to glue things together like this, but... And yeah, if you want to trim off the edges or something, then that's fine too. I'm like, let it dry. Okay. So yeah, this is a lot drier now. So this is all cardstock. I think I forgot to mention that it's cardstock. I think there's a bit of a blob of glue that sort of dried on here. Tried to just clean that up a little bit. Sometimes having nails is not too much of a hindrance. Anyways, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just sort of clean up these edges. Just try to make it a little bit more card-like. It might look a little uneven, unfortunately, because of how it is presented, but whatever. So they're just gonna have thinner edges than I anticipated, I guess. If you want to, you can always make it have thicker edges so this doesn't happen to you, and then you can trim it off a lot easier. I stupidly didn't do that, which, you know, a lot of people leave a bleed line when they're printing stuff for a reason. So I'm just gonna put that aside, trim this a bit. And there's frays, sometimes I just tend to trim it just slightly, like that. Okay, so it looks pretty decent on this side, but this side, let's see. There's a bit of a white thing going on this side, so
trim that up as well. It's hard to glue things perfectly, guys. I don't know if you've noticed that yourself, but I find it's really hard to do. This is really hard to cut like this as well, but try to get as close to the edge as you possibly can. Also, if it frays a bit, oops, no, that's okay. You can always cut a bit. So this guy, just gonna trim that off with scissors a bit. There we go. So that's much better. So it just looks like a matte version of a Trivial Pursuit card. And yeah, so you can just sort of, oops, let's do this. Like sort of flip things over quite easily and see what the answer is by flipping things over like that. And again, when other people see your answers, most of the time you cover it up with your hand, and so they won't see it anyways. But even if they can see your answers and you forgot to cover them up, you can basically have them upside down, which is really good. Hopefully no cheating is going to happen. It's hard to see these anyways, but yeah. So I tried to base these on basically kind of like pie questions, I guess. This one was probably the hardest to do, and this wasn't really pie related, but this one's like sports and leisure, and I wanted to do like a sports question. I thought it'd be kind of fun to do that. So I just did this because the name of the team was the Rockford Peaches, and I feel like peach pie, you know? Like that was how my mind worked there. So anyways, I thought that was really fun. So basically what you do, bring back my beautiful necklaces here, and if you want to, you sort of snip this way, and I hate cutting right through, but I want to make things a little even, so I'm just going to cut right through that, like that. And then you can pick whichever side, it doesn't matter if you want to do the question side or the answer side. But then you can just sort of put this through, like this. Just sort of weave it through. Super easy, right? So easy as pie. I had to say it at least once in this video, right? Just try to, I like to keep it kind of close to the card if I can. Okay, and then what I like to do is you don't have to do this necessarily, but I like to do this. I like to put the chain in a little baggie. But yeah, so you sort of squish that through, and then you sort of have some poking out on the side here. And you can tape that on the card if you want to go that route. You don't have to necessarily tape it, but you can stick it in like a little box or something like that. And that's basically that. And like, you've got this kind of fun little presentation. And you can do the same thing with this if you really want to. Obviously, I'm not taping it down, so I'm just sort of showing you guys what to do for presentation if that's what you want to go. If you want to go this route, again, if you want to take your own card and stuff like that, or do laminating, whatever you want to do, you can go as crazy as you want or as simple as you want with this, which is really kind of like the fun part about this. But yeah, so I just made this and that, and again, it can be as simple as possible or it can be as elaborate as you want. And I love this because this was actually originally brown on the card that I was referencing, and I just tried to match it with the colors. I didn't really match this very well. This was kind of like the same colors, and it kind of turned out almost red when it was printed, but this was like a pinky color. It was just a darker pink than this one. I didn't really match it up fully like by color picking. I just sort of like eyeballed it, and I think it turned out pretty well. It was a very similar match, this purple, but I really like how this turned out. I think this is super cute, and it's just fun to give somebody something kind of personal, and especially if they like trivia games, you know, like why not give them something fun like this, or pie, you know, if they like both. I always like stuff that's fun and colorful and really cute. So if you know somebody in your life that's really into trivia, so yeah, my mom was really into Trivial Pursuit. She was really good. She loved Jeopardy and Trivial Pursuit and all that sort of stuff. Like, she loved trivia games. So if you know somebody who's like that, this is a perfect present for them, I think. And again, if you're that type of person, you know, make this for yourself. I think this is a really fun DIY that, again, can be as simple or as elaborate as you want to make it.
make it. I know it's kind of elaborate, at least like this one was elaborate to do. This one took a long time to do, but I really like how it turned out. At first I was kind of like, I don't know if I like it, but I think as soon as I applied the paint and stuff like that, that's when I kind of really enjoyed doing it. So, but yeah, I really like how this one turned out too, as simple as it is. I took it out of the bag, but anyways, it's just easier to carry and stuff like that. But yeah, I think this turned out really, really cute. I really like the fact that, I mean, you can attach a card or something. You don't have to do what I did with printing things up and then, you know, gluing it all, you know, that's like a lot of process, I know, but like a lot of hassle. But if you don't want to like ruin your game, because some people just don't, like they feel like it's blasphemous to like ruin a game or something, right? This is another alternative. So you can just like print it up, you know, cut it out, glue it together, that sort of thing. And it still is effective, I think, and still looks really cute. And it's a really, really fun presentation. I think it's super simple. It goes with a lot of like outfits, colorful or plain colors. Like as you saw in the video, I was pretty much wearing just a plain kind of shirt, like colored shirt. So you don't have to go as colorful as I sometimes go, like all rainbowy and stuff. The other idea I had for another type of necklace, it doesn't have to be as big and bulky as these guys are, you know, because these ones are quite big pieces. So if you really think that a friend of yours is gonna like something a little more delicate, you could always like either just give them, remember how I drilled this guy, this little bale, how I drilled that guy into this. Basically you can sort of do the same sort of thing. You can drill like a little hole with a handheld thing just to like control it, and then you can glue that in there. And if you wanted to, you can sort of fill the back with resin or something else. Like there's lots of different types of materials you can probably put in there. Clay, like you can put a picture in there and put resin in there, put some sparkly stuff, whatever you want to do. And then you can either leave it plain or you can dress it up as one of your favorite pie pieces, even like one of the favorite ones in here. You can like do some of the same techniques that I did for those pie pieces that I made, and you could just make your own little pie piece. And I don't know, I think that would be really, really cute and really, really delicate to wear just like on a necklace. And again, it can be whatever pie piece you want, whatever color you want, and it can go with your outfits. And or again, if you want to give this to a friend, like think about the color palettes that they wear and what they probably would like, if they have like a favorite kind of pie flavor, that sort of thing. I think that would be so cute. I should have done this in the video, but yeah, anyways, I wanted to do the more elaborate ones and then just talk about this later, because I feel like that's a pretty easy, straightforward concept after watching this video. You guys are probably pros now, so you can easily make something simple like this little guy. So I really hope you guys like this video, and if you do, please like and subscribe if you haven't done that yet. And if you think somebody is going to enjoy this video, please share it. And also, guys, please comment. Like if you really like this kind of DIY, please share that with me, because I like to hear about it. But yeah, so that's basically the Trivial Pursuit trivia jewelry, and I really, really hope that you guys enjoyed this particular video, and I hope you guys like this whole series that I'm doing on board game jewelry. Really, really hope that you guys have an awesome day, and take care. Bye!